everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to review Netflix's Umbrella Academy Season 3. Now, Umbrella Academy has been quietly, I would say quietly, one of the best superhero slash comic book adaptations on TV right now. It's on par with The Boys. It's on par with everything Marvel's doing. It's on par with everything DC's done. Even better in some cases. In fact, I kind of like this show more than I do The Boys. I like the beat to it. I like the snappiness to it. It just has this flow. Funny enough, the producer slash I believe he's a writer or a director. I can't remember which one. But he worked on Moon Knight. Which, if you watch Moon Knight and you watch this show, you can kind of see similarities in the tone, in the snappiness of the tone. But anywho, Umbrella Academy Season 3. Now, Season 2 ended with a big WTF. After being stuck in the 50s, I believe it was the 50s, Dallas, Texas in the 50s, the Umbrella Academy finally managed to save the day again. And they managed to finally, they're like, okay, we've overcome everything we need to overcome, and we're gonna head back home. Alright, unfortunately, that's not how things go. Now, when you're dealing with time travel, which this show does a lot, it can get a bit messy. And one of the ideas that's out there is, of course, the idea of, when you fuck with shit in the past, it can completely affect things in the future. And unlike the MCU, this universe, the Umbrella Academy universe, doesn't run off of like a splintered universe theory. And Marvel, and because in things like what am I thinking? In things like Terminator, the theory, the idea is what has happened, what will happen has already happened. You just don't know it yet. So there's no actual changing. You can't actually go back in time and change anything. If you were to go back in time, you were supposed to go back in time. Like, it was already something that happened. Like, if you were to go back in time, you were supposed to do that. Like, it was supposed to go down that way, so you wouldn't have changed anything. If you didn't see yourself when you went back in time, that's because when you went back in time, you never saw yourself. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. And then there's like the MCU thing going on, where it's like, oh no, if you go back in time and change something, you don't actually change anything that already happened in your timeline. It's just from that point where you change something, it splinters off into an alternate reality. Well, Umbrella Academy universe seems like they're not doing that. It seems like the Umbrella Academy universe more so is going with the whole, you change something in the past, it completely changes the regular timeline. And of course, if that's the case, then something that was introduced in obviously Back to the Future is is it called the grandfather? Is it the grandfather paradox? Yeah, the grandfather paradox. Where if you were to go back in time and murder your grandfather when he was a young man, how could you then, and that would mean you wouldn't exist. And if you didn't exist, how would you have been able to go back in time and kill him in the first place? And the idea is everything would go fucking batshit crazy and the universe would end. Keep that nugget to yourself. But the Umbrella Academy show up back in their house, back in the mansion. They're like, well, okay, cool, back in the manor. I don't know if it's a mansion. It's pretty big. And there's Reggie. There's old Reginald, their father, alive and well. But it's called the Sparrow Academy now. And he has an entirely new group of children with superpowers. It's one of those things that kind of goes over your head and you don't think about. But one of the first jokes you hear, well, I thought it was funny, was the whole, on this one day, 16 or 17, 16 young women all got pregnant, even though they weren't pregnant on the day, they weren't nowhere near pregnant. They all simultaneously got pregnant and gave birth to children at the same damn time. And all these children had abilities. and eccentric billionaire Reginald Hardgrave flew around the world to adopt and offering these families money for the children. It's the way. It's his delivery when he was offering. I forgot how fucked up it was. Like, you walk up to a mom and just and look at the baby and go, interesting. How much you want for it? Like, no subtlety. How much? Money isn't a cost. Like, money isn't an obstacle. It's like, yo, man, this is clearly 7 of them did give it up, but still, it's just funny to think about. It's just, ooh, how much you want for this kid? It's so funny to think about. But in that original season 1, when you heard that, it is I thought they were going to make it. So I thought, oh, well, that's cool, setting up supervillains. Because I'm like, there's other kids out there who would have powers who wouldn't have the guidance and be underneath this, roof with all these other kids. So they would, who knows what they would have grown up to be like. And we got to see a lot of them. His new Sparrow Academy has a lot of different members, most of which I can't remember their names because, well, don't want to spoil anything, but the biggest member of his group is Ben. He still adopts Ben, but as it turns out, because they went back in the past in season 2 and met their father and told their father about everything that happened, and so he decided not to adopt them this time around on purpose, which is kind of funny. He did not adopt them this time around on purpose, so that way he wouldn't have to, well. At least that's what he said. Turns out, something else happened. I'm kind of having a hard time talking about the show because it did just come out. I really want people to go see it. But either way, I'll talk about generalizations. I do think this may be, I think this is better than season 2, but not quite as good as season 1, if that's a good way to put it. I think it's a better ensemble piece because in the past, the story has been driven by 5. 5 is my favorite character on the show. I love 5. I love the idea of this 70-year-old man. 75-year-old man in the body of a 14-year-old. It's just hilarious to me because his mannerisms and that kid, I don't know his name, but he does such a great job of portraying older. You know what I mean? When you watch him, it's a kid, but his mannerisms, his facial expressions, the way he carries himself, it's that of an older man. It is. It's that of an older man. And you never, like I said, they make jokes, but you never, that kid does, that guy, I don't know what that kid's name is, but he does such an amazing job of getting over the fact that 5 is an old man in a young guy, in a kid's body, in a teenager's body. And I've always loved 5, and most of the story has been driven by 5 because obviously he's the time traveler. He's the one who worked for the commission. These, this organization that monitors time and shit and sends people out to assassinate people. He's the world's technically, he's the greatest assassin in the history of recorded history. Technically, his body count is insane. And I love his smarminess. I love his old man mannerisms. I love 5. I love a lot of them. I love Klaus. I love them all, man. I love Diego. Diego's stupid as fuck, but I love him, man. But usually the story is kind of driven by him because he's the one who knows the most. He's the one who's most connected to the events that are going on. So usually it's driven through him. This season is more of an ensemble piece because 5 doesn't have as many answers. He doesn't have as many moves because for the last couple seasons, you always got the feeling that there was something 5 could do. There was something 5 could do. There was something 5 could talk to. Even if it didn't go right, you always had the feeling 5's gonna come up with something. 5 knows someone. He knows something. He's lived forever. He's known so many people. You just have a feeling that he knows something. But this is the first season where 5 didn't always have the answers, and the others really got to stretch their muscles a bit. Particularly Allison. Now, Allison, I would say, out of all the members, which Allison has an interesting thing going on too, especially in season 2 with the whole being in the 50s with, let's put it this way, racism. You think racism bad now? Racism was much worse in the 50s. But like this season, but generally speaking, she's always sort of been like the mother, or like the warming feeling, keeping the people together, reinforcing positivity and whatnot. Like most of the time being positive, most of the time being the one to talk. You know, she was the one who talked Vanya down. You know, well, or Victor. I'll get into that later. When he was I don't even know what to say, because it was she at the time, it's he now. But like she's the one who talked Vanya down, Victor down when that first season happened and about to destroy everything. She's the one. She didn't talk her down, but you know what I mean. So like she's always been this warming feeling, and this season she has reached her breaking point. She's in a much darker place, and it's funny that she has the power to make people do what she wants them to do with her voice. And I never really realized like it's powerful, but it's not to like her mindset and how she was. It's really scary at certain points. At certain points, you realize like she's scary, and like she's in a very much darker place in her mind. On the flip side, fucking these like Diego, Luther, and Klaus are on the opposite. I mean, Luther finds love. Klaus Diego obviously has that weird thing with that weird thing going with Lila or Layla. He's still got that thing going, and they're awesome together, obviously. And Klaus finds out, spoiler alert, he's fucking immortal. That's why God doesn't like him. Because if you see season 1, at a certain point Klaus dies and meets God, who for some weird reason is a little girl on a bike, but whatever, that's here nor there. He meets God, and God literally says, "I don't like you." And he's like, Klaus is like, "Yo, you can't say that. Like, you're God. You're supposed to love everyone." And he's just like, "What the fuck I said? I didn't say that shit. You humans wrote that shit. I didn't say I loved everyone. I play favorites. I'll let you up here, but I don't mean I like you." It's like, well, damn. But the reason God does, and at least in that universe, the reason God doesn't like Klaus is because technically Klaus is immortal. He can't die. And that revelation was like, it made a lot of sense though, because you're just thinking about all the drugs, all the things he's done, and like, you know, you should think about, it's like, dude, he should have died, like, all the stuff he's done. It's like, dude, he should be dead a long time ago. But one of the fun things I've always liked about the show is it's always been heavily hinted, leaned into, kind of like nudge, that all the members of the Umbrella Academy are only really scratching the surface of how powerful they can be. Like they make it pretty clear, like, Five can travel through time, dude. Five can go back in time minutes and shit. You know, he doesn't do it in the show, particularly in moments where it would have made sense to do so, which is baffling, and it did feel like they just conveniently forgot he can go back, he can go back a few minutes. Even though he can't accurately go anywhere too far in the future or the past, he can still do it. And like they don't even have it be an option on the table. But so Five can travel through okay, let me get into this. So if you didn't know, Ellen Page is kind of she's gone through a transformation, and she is now Elliot Page. She is referred to as a he now. She is a man. That's a real life thing. And I guess they wanted to reflect that in the show because that's kind of what happens in the show. Now, they don't hang on it too long, which I think they did a pretty good job of handling it. It took me a second because I gotten so used to Ellen Page, aka, Ellen Page, the first actress to play Kitty Pryde, an X-Men, and, fucking Juno, and all these other kind of projects like that. I've gotten so used to that. And in the show, I've gotten so used to calling her Vanya. I got so used to that it's just like when they made that shift, it was like, well, obviously they're gonna make that shift because of because of real life things. But I think they did a good job in handling it, and it ended up being okay. By the time it ended up coming, by the time at first I was like, man, they're like, I really hope they're not pushing this in there. But but okay, it is what it is. That's what happened. But okay, cool. Victor now. It's heavily hinted. multiple times that Victor, even as powerful as he is, he still could be more powerful. All of them can. I mean, Klaus can control the dead, man. Yeah, like he can absorb them too. But I digress. I would give Umbrella Academy Season 3 a 9 out of 10, dude. I loved it. I can't wait for Season 4 if it ever gets greenlit. Netflix would be idiots not to greenlight this, man. Like this, you know, I don't know. This might be my favorite show of the year, man. I love this show. I love this dysfunctional family. They're always so entertaining. And I've often talked about how sometimes it's cool when you create a character that's so interesting that you just want to know what they think. They have multiple characters who are so interesting or stupid that you just wonder what they think about something that's stupid. Anyways, thank you for joining me on Comic Game Movie Show. Please do like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Comment below and let me know. Have you seen Umbrella Academy Season 3? Check it out on Netflix. Anyways, thank you guys. I'll see you on the next one.